Good morning. How's everybody doing? Day 2. Good? We have coffee? We're alive? Perfect. Well, I'm really excited that you're here. I'm really excited to attend this session as well, selfishly. You're going to be hearing from Chris Zimmerman today. He's a Senior Enterprise Customer Success Manager here at Jamf. He's been here for about 3 years. And the session is going to be on Jamf Protect Template, a simple template to notify end users on remediation. We are going to have Q&A at the very end, and I'll run the mic around so you can ask your questions directly to Chris. So kind of hold questions and write them down. All right, you ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right. All right. Hello, everybody. As Morgan mentioned, my name is Chris Zimmerman. I work with our strategic customers here at Jamf, working to help them achieve their goals with our products. One of the cool things about this is we have some really unique conversations. And this project actually came about with just an off-the-cusp comment of, man, it would be really cool to use swiftDialog to go ahead and provide end users some notifications on a remediation taking place. And it'd be even cooler if we're able to put all the remediations into one script so we can go ahead and run that. So that conversation led to this project here. How many of you have used swiftDialog in your environment? Okay, a good amount. It is a fantastic project by Bart Reardon. Highly recommend checking out his Git repo. As you'll find throughout this presentation, I'm going to have QR codes plastered around. Feel free to scan those to get access to the documentation for this event, as well as some other Easter eggs here. So let's just go ahead. You're an admin. You've realized in Jamf Protect, you've noticed an uptick in this event called plist disguises Apple. So something's happening where a user is installing a file that's trying to pretend that it's an Apple plist. And you found out this file path, so you're going to go ahead and remove that file path. But how did we get here? So this is an end user. They're going to go to their computer in this totally realistic situation where they click on this package called Totally Not a Problem. They're going to go through the installer just like they normally would, and they're going to type in their credentials here. After that, they're going to go ahead and accept a prompt for going into the documents folder, and then the installation's done here. So to them, nothing has happened. But what was actually taking place in the background is a file path pretending to be an Apple plist has been created. Jamf Protect has noticed this, and it's going to talk to Jamf Pro, and then bam, we now get this warning here saying, hey, your Mac, we've detected a threat, we want to go ahead and fix it. User clicks OK, now it's going to go through the remediation, and then bam, remediation complete. So that's what it looks like. But now I'm guessing you're wondering, how do we get here? So we're going to go ahead and break this conversation down into 3 topics. We're going to talk about Jamf Protect Analytics. We're going to go ahead and talk about the Jamf Protect Template, how you go ahead and use the script to be able to configure this. And then we're going to talk about how we configure this in Jamf Pro. So what is an analytic? Well, an analytic is a rule that can detect problematic behavior on a user's Mac. As of today, there are around 171 Jamf Managed Analytics in Jamf Protect. The Jamf Managed Analytics are based on the MITRE attack, which is adversarial tactics, techniques, and common knowledge base, and are organized by categories that are unique to their evasion technique. However, there might be behaviors that you also want to uniquely track in your environment. And that is where we go into a custom analytic. So do I expect you to know all the behaviors in a Mac? Absolutely not. But we do have a Git repo, which is in that QR code right there, with the Jamf most commonly asked for custom analytics. So things such as airdrop activity, screenshot activity, things of that nature. We actually have built-in custom analytics with that information for you. So if you want to put that into your environment so you can track these behaviors, you can do that. Not all behaviors are technically bad or harmful to the environment, but they might be behaviors we want to track and make sure that we're doing so in a diligent way as admins. So to build your custom analytic, there's going to be some filter logic. You're going to need to have some basic understanding of how that sorting and filter logic works. And you put that together, and you're able to track all sorts of different kinds of activity. after that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to finish our configuration in Jamf Protect. Once we have our analytic, or we're going to go ahead and edit a Jamf managed analytic, we're going to go ahead and edit what's called a Jamf Pro Smart Group. What this is a file that gets dropped on the user's computer that then is able to be collected by Jamf Pro in an extension attribute. So for this behavior, I am going to go ahead and write down threat-apple. That tells me, hey, I know it's a threat, and I know it's the Apple plist. I have a way to identify that when I look at a user's extension attribute in the inventory for a computer. And I also have the ability to see that on my threat prevention, which we'll talk about in just a bit. Finally, once we are able to locate that information, we're able to then create a smart group based on that extension attribute of the Jamf Protect smart groups. So my recommendation for this, if you're going to be using the Jamf Protect template, is to have a prefix to your stuff. The reason why I say that is because if we make all these different unique ones, that's going to make our smart group look really sloppy. And we'll talk about building the Jamf Pro Smart Group later. But so to simply put, we go into the analytic, we edit the analytic, we go to the Jamf Pro Smart Group, we're going to put in what we want to call that extension attribute value. So now we've edited our analytics, the ones that we want to track and do our remediations for. Now let's go ahead and configure the script. So some considerations when it comes to remediation. You want to go ahead and look for those files that triggered that analytic. Fortunately, that's in Jamf Protect. As you see these threats rising in your environment, you can actually go to what triggered the analytic. It'll tell you the file, the path that it's at, and you can leverage that for your remediation. So in my case, I found that that plist file was being put into the launch agents folder, and I was able to go ahead and say, hey, if this file exists, go ahead and remove it. That's it. That's all my remediation does there. You also can remove any supporting files. So if you see other things that are installed at that same time that could be harmful, you can remove those. And if you have the custom analytic built for files that are dropped in quarantine, those are going to be files that are blocked by Jamf Protect Threat Prevention, which is separate from the analytic behavior. And you can go ahead and collect information about those, whether it's the hash, the signing, all that information, and you can go ahead and upload that to your security solution for further analysis into the threat that's happening there. When it comes to the script, you're going to notice that there are arrays, there are functions. It looks very complicated, but my goal was to make this as simple as possible. So I put all the stuff that you need to configure at the top, and then the script handles the rest of it. If we're going to go ahead and look just a little bit further, what happens is you'll see SG1, SG2, SG3. Those are the values that you put in your Jamf Protect Smart Group. So if I put threat-apple, I'm going to put in the SG1 threat-apple, and then for my function remediate one, I'm going to replace that sleep5 with my remediation script. And what happens is there's actually a case function that takes place that'll go ahead and match all those files that have been dropped on that user's machine for that Jamf Pro Smart Group value. And when it matches one, it'll go ahead and run the corresponding remediation. So in my case, because it detected the threat-apple, it's going to look for that remediation for threat-apple. And that's kind of the secret sauce, if you will, of that script and how that works there. So you have your Jamf Pro Smart Group. That file is dropped to the computer. The policy runs. This script now grabs that value, will run the proper remediation for that. And if you have multiple remediations that need to be run, the script has the ability to loop through all those remediations that need to take place on that user's machine. So we've now gone through Jamf Protect. We've edited the custom analytic. We've edited the script to do our remediations for the threats that we care about remediating. Now let's go ahead and configure this in Jamf Pro. What we need to do is we first need to create the extension attribute. We also need to then create a smart group, and then we need to create a policy. Fortunately, we're going to walk through it all together here. So first, the extension attribute. You just have to know how to do some clicks. It's fantastic. So if you go into Jamf Pro, go to extension attributes, you click on new from template. From there, you can actually just search for Jamf Protect. And when you search for Jamf Protect and you click on the Jamf, you'll see, hey, Jamf Protect Smart Groups is a value that I want to create an extension attribute for. After that, you click Save. It'll show you, hey, this is that script that we're using to be able to find those Jamf Protect Smart Groups. We'll click Save, and then there you go. So now you have an extension attribute built for the smart group. Let's go ahead and build the smart group. As I mentioned, my recommendation, if you're going to use the Jamf Protect template, have a prefix for your threats or analytics that you're keeping track of. To build this, we're just going to go here, click New on Smart Groups. We'll name this something very helpful so we know what it is, Jamf Protect Smart Groups. Then we're going to go into Criteria, and we'll click on the plus sign here, Show Advanced Criteria, and we're going to look for that Jamf Protect Smart Groups extension attribute. Once we find that, we're going to click on Add. We're going to change that value to like, and then we're just going to put our prefix here for the value there. You can also use regex. So if you're going to start everything with the same thing, you could say matches regex and do the prefix on that as well. After that, we've now created our smart group. So we have an extension attribute to determine those files that are there. We have a smart group to be able to tell our Jamf Pro server that those files exist. Now we need to build out the policy. So when we go into here, we're going to go to scripts first because we need the script to exist in Jamf Pro to build our policy. We'll go ahead and call this, hey, Jamf Protect Remediation. And then after we got that, I always think it's best practice, put in some information. Hey, what is this script going to be doing? What's the purpose of this? Who uploaded the script? We'll put that into the extra notes there at the bottom as well, kind of the date that it's been updated as well. So some best practices just to let your other admins that are working in your environment know, hey, this is what it is, this is what it's doing, this is who uploaded it, this is the time that we uploaded it. And after that, we're going to go ahead and click Save. And we have done the save here, and you can tell I'm thinking really long and hard about what my name is. And so we've hit Save here, we got our script, pasted it in there, looks fantastic. We've put our smart group values, all that's matched up, so we're good to go here. Also recommend, if you're going to do this, you can do the labels. I have these on the script, kind of what the different parameters do. So for instance, I create a local log file on the machine. So if you need to do some extra analysis on what the script did or didn't do, you can go back to that log. You also have a debug mode that you can use as well. So these are just those labels that match up with those parameters in the script. After we've completed that, we're going to go ahead and go into Computers, Policies, and we're going to create a new policy. When we create our policy, of course, we got to start off with our name here. After we start off with the name for the policy, we need a trigger. In this case, because Jamf Protect is going to be triggering this, we're going to call this custom trigger just Protect, all lowercase. And that is all we need to do to be able to call on this, because Protect is going to do that for us. We don't need to call on it manually. It's fantastic. After that, you're going to configure your script. You'll add the script that we just uploaded here. And you can see there's the parameter values there. You can put in some different values depending on what your use case is. Those are defined in the script notes there. We'll go ahead and hit Save here. And we'll configure an inventory update as well. We want to make sure that that information is available for that. So after we've done this, our policy is almost ready to go. The last thing we need to do is use our smart group that we created that does the extension attribute value tracking, and we're going to go ahead and scope that to our script policy here. And once we've done that, congratulations. You now have your remediation script ready to go based on the analytics that you want to remediate here. And after we go ahead and do that, we're going to revisit this. But now I got the Jamf log happening in the background here, so you can kind of see what's all taking place in the same scenario here. So user clicks on the totally not a problem package. They'll go ahead and do the installer there. As you can see, I needed to resize the view here so you can see it's just a little bit better. When we click here, we go ahead and do the same installation path. We're going to ask for our credentials, documents folder, all that's good to go. But then what happens is that analytic that took place before that we didn't really see what was happening, Jamf Protect now is saying, hey, wait, I now have to put that placeholder file into that path for this extension attribute. I'm going to go ahead and run a recon. And after the recon's fired, it's then going to automatically do the sudo jamf policy-event protect. And boom, now we're back to where we were at the beginning of that presentation. And you can see that's how simple it was to get all of that set up. And we go through those remediations just like we did before. But you'll notice something seems a little bit different here. And we're going to talk about that in the logs here. So after this completes, we're going to go to our log path, which for now is just in the var/log protectremediation.log. Again, you can customize where that file goes. Once we go ahead and open it up, we're going to go ahead and see, hey, here's all the different statements that we've echoed to our local log here. And there's going to be a little surprise here, because what happened was there was actually another remediation that didn't exist. But the Jamf Protect remediation script is still able to tell you, hey, this is the remediation that we were expecting to do, but there was none defined within the script. So the script also has logic on how to handle smart groups that weren't available for that. And that's kind of the script there. That being said, that is basically all I have to share on the Jamf Protect template here today. But I want to call out some other sessions that are happening out in today here. So one of them is App Auto Patch. This is a really cool thing happening in the Davidson Ballroom. Another swiftDialog project able to help. I don't want to give it away. You should just check it out. So next thing is going to be the Practical Mac Security with Jamf Protect. That's happening today in room 207A. Definitely recommend checking that out if you want to learn a little bit more of, hey, here's how Jamf Protect does Mac security. We also have From Data to Decisions happening tomorrow at 9 a.m., so same time. I would definitely recommend checking out this session. I got a chance to preview this one. It is very in-depth about how this organization, Magic Hat, was able to look at all the data from Jamf Protect and then make the necessary decisions that they need to protect their environment. So that's a really cool practical session that I would highly recommend there. Then finally, demystifying custom analytics for Jamf Protect. This is one of our professional services engineer talking about this, and this is a fantastic session that you'll want to check out right after you've done the data to decisions. Yeah, that is my presentation here today. So thank you. Any questions? Yes?
Is there any limit to how many cases you can have in that remediation?
Great question. So by default, I have 3. And then if you want to go on to 7, you can. And then after that, I have a template set up that if you want to just make it 8, 9, 10, go as far as you want. There isn't necessarily a limit for that. So if you want to have 100, sure, that's going to be a really long script. But yeah, that is a great question. Thank you. That goes back to the the documentation for this presentation.
Okay, because it gives a portal 4, right?
Oh, it does? Good to know. All right. Well, yeah, I guess that's the problem with QR codes if they go out. So thank you for the heads up.
Is that just on your GitHub?
Yeah, you can go to my GitHub, github.com/chrisgzim, and you can find the documentation for JNUC 2024. Any other questions? Yes.
Is there any way to get Jamf Protect to do a recon for the Jamf Pro remediation? Because Jamf Pro doesn't do the remediation without the device acknowledging that there's a problem.
Great question. So make sure I understand, will Jamf Protect automatically do the recon once it does the analytic? Yes, absolutely. So once that analytic is detected, it runs that recon and then runs the protect event, Jamf Pro policy-event protect to be able to then trigger any policies that are now in scope. So yeah, recon happens, so that way that smart group information is populated, and then that smart group is scoped to that policy, and then protect will then run the protect trigger for that policy. Yeah. Any more questions? Going once? Going twice? Oh, we got one more?
GitHub address one more time.
Yes, github.com/Chris, C-H-R-I-S, G as in Greg, Z-I-M as in Mary, Chris G. Zim. Thank you.
Chris, where can folks talk to to after the session.
Yeah, hey, I'll be hanging around in the expo hall. We have the customer experience bar that is right in the middle. You'll see this giant Jamf monolith in the center of the expo hall. So feel free to check that out. I'll be hanging out there with some of my other colleagues. Be happy to answer any questions that you might have for the script as well. Yeah.
Do you have parameters in the script to like customize the user interface?
Yeah, great question. So a lot of people may not like the boring language, so I wanted to make sure that was absolutely customizable. So you can put in whatever string you want. You can use Markdown as well to stylize it, things of that nature. All that's within the swiftDialog stuff. That's built into those parameters as well. So all that messaging, it's good to go. Yeah.
And then in your remediation scripts in each case, are you outputting from the remediation scripts into the dialog so that the user can get pieces from that?
Yeah, I think I'm understanding the question. So if there is something that the user needs to know about what happened in that remediation, is there a way for them to go back on that? That is, so if you're writing that script, I do have functions built in that if you want to write that to the log that's happening locally on the machine, you can just type in update log before whatever you want to add to that on there. There's also some logic in there. Instead of using like exit ones in your remediation scripts, you can put an error. I have a value that'll go ahead and detect any errors that happen there, and you can leverage that to be able to track how many of those remediations may have failed as well.
Are you able to put your slides on your GitHub?
You know what, that's a fair question. I will do that, yes. I will go ahead and put my slide deck on there. Yeah, I will definitely upload my slides on the GitHub. Thank you, good call, good feedback. All right, well, is that it? Thanks for attending my session today, yeah. Enjoy the rest of JNUC, yeah, thank you. Really short.